live on both.
Ooh, we are live on YouTube and we are live on Facebook. What's up, everybody? Tania Estrada in the house with my co-host Jimmy James Callahan, and you are here for Talking Crap with Tania Estrada. I am very honored to have the man, the myth, the legend, the man that broke me in entertainment and found me first. He is the king of reality TV show because he is the first man to bring reality TV into our TVs and to our homes with Operation Repo. Please welcome Lou Pizarro. Yay!
Wow. Woo, man, that was beautiful.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Yeah, I'm all sweaty and stuff. That was good.
Oh, thank you, boss. Thank you. I learned from the best. I learned from you. You taught me how to do the damn thing. So thank you. I want to say, Lou, thank you so much for everything that you have done for me as a female, as a Latina, as a Chola, to get me in front of the TV screen, the movie screen, and in front of radio. I've always dreamed of being in radio, but I never knew that I would be working with a legend like yourself ever in my life. And I want to tell you that it's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much and I have everything to thank you for. So thank you so much for being on my podcast today and taking the time out to talk to us a little bit. So thank you.
Oh, you got it. You're welcome.
Yeah. So, so my opening question, because I know that everybody wants to know, because Operation Repo is everywhere. You can see it on True TV, you can see it on Telemundo, and you can see it in India, China, Bangladesh, everywhere, all over the world. When you started Operation Repo, I know there's a very interesting story that had to do with a news channel that approached you. Tell us about how you got into the TV business from that.
So, 2004, I got a phone call from Telemundo News Department from Maria Garcia and Diego Caro. And they wanted to do a news segment, The Day in the Life of a Repo Man. And I told them I would help out. My Spanish wasn't that good. They did not care. So they went out with me for 2 nights from like 10 to 5 in the morning. I was out there in South Central, Watts, Jordan Downs, Nickerson Gardens and stuff like that. And they were like, wow, aren't you scared? I go, no. I should have been scared though, in retrospect. So at any rate, about a week and a half went by and I was at Mercado del Valle. It's kind of like a Vallarta type store back in the day. Mm-hmm. And there was this guy and he told me in Spanish, hey, you're the repo guy from Telemundo. And I'm like, I'm the what? And he goes, yeah. El repo guy de Telemundo. And it was the weirdest thing, Tania. And, people were pulling out their Polaroids out of their bags. And they wanted to take pictures, the schematics. And it was like, wow. Me pegó the fever, right? So I called up Maria and I says, hey, what's going on? She goes, oh my gosh, Lou, we have a hit. She goes, this segment was a hit. They want to do another one. So long story short on that part, I was their go-to guy for the next year. I did 4 other national segments, how to steal a car in 30 seconds, how many cars get stolen, why do cars get stolen during the summertime, identity theft by breaking in the car, so forth, and so on. So I used to film all my repos anyway for insurance, safety. And a couple of the guys that I went to church with were in film school. Keep in mind, I knew nothing of production. I watched a gazillion films, but that's it. And I knew camera work. I always had a camera in my hand, since I was a kid. Since I stole my first Instamatic. Wait a minute, are we live? So that's another story, brother.
Statute of limitations. Okay.
Yeah, long gone. Yeah. I was in the 6th grade when I did that, so it's long gone. It was a minor. So we put together this reel, literally, and I took them to eat sushi every day. That's what they wanted. I didn't realize how expensive sushi was because I was a pizza guy at the time. I'm like, come on, I'll take you to get pizza. They're like, pizza? We want sushi.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fancy for back then.
Yeah. So about a year went by before I finished it and pitched it. I was going through my own personal, problems and stuff like that. And I just, was ready to get out of the repo business. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. And I called up Maria and she goes, "Oh my gosh, we thought you were dead." I go, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, we've been trying to get a hold of you." I go, "Yeah, I changed my cell phone number and I just needed to take some time off. And so I got something to show you." So I went out to NBC and, Telemundo, and I showed them the reel that I had, the sizzle reel. And no kidding, Tanya, a year went by and I had this reel sitting there doing nothing, collecting dust.
Wow.
And from the day they seen it, 2 weeks went by and they called me in and they bought the show.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that was the beginning of it. We were excited. Everybody was happy, and that we were going to be on Telemundo. And not too long after that, Court TV wanted to start a new network called True TV. So they came to us and they wanted us to be their transitional show from Court TV to True TV. And we were the very first show. That's how we made history with True TV and Court TV. So if you see during that reign that we were on there, all the shows were formatted like Operation Repo. So, which was great. So that's how the show came to be, guys.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow. So you made a demo, but you didn't pass it out.
Yeah, it sat there, man. And I believe that sometimes, it's about the right time. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You can't do anything about it.
Well, I love that the way that the show was filmed was so perfect, because you basically installed cameras inside of your truck that was able to capture the actual moments when you're going through a repossession. Did you have those cameras installed before the actual show, or was that something that came to be afterward?
So just to when I started doing the pilot, I wanted people to be able to tell their, what we call testimonials or recaps. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do them in the truck. And then I figured, let's do them inside of an office. When I first started, I had like a Marine Corps emblem blanket in the back, and I had my actors or my talent, my repossessors in front of it, and they would tell their story. And then I'm like, you know what? I need more. So I started mounting these big cameras on the dashboard, which is difficult, but at least to get the shot. I put them out in the hood facing in. So at this time, they didn't have GoPros. They didn't have the little small cameras. So we had huge cameras. And if you look at the Spanish repo, the very first one, we had like a DVX 100. They got a little smaller, a DVX 100. I had a Canon A2 on the dash. Now you have you have GoPros that are so small. So that's kind of how that came to be. Just me playing around,
No, it always looked great, and it was very good for making the viewer feel like they were right there in the moment while you were going in for these repossessions. Now, when and this was your own repossession company, your company.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
And it was a family business, right? So one of the most infamous characters that you had is your sister, Sonia. Love Sonia. Yeah. Sonia is so funny. How was that working as a brother and sister dynamic? Because she's really tough.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, my sister and I in real life were already a team of two criminals. So that's why, people are like, wow, they were good, with each other, because all our lives were criminals together, right? We did a lot of stuff together that I can't really talk about. But so, once we're doing it legally with camera crews, it was easy.
Yes.
So we always had that, that rapport together.
And it was great rapport. Everybody was always, even comments right now, when I did the promo announcing that you were going to be on the show, everybody was like, oh my God, Sonia always scares me. And it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? If she's coming and showing up and you owe her money, it's going to be some shit.
Yeah. I know about that.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about the most memorable moment of repossessing a car that was not caught on camera?
Legal or illegal?
Let's go for legal, just because we don't know what the statute of limitation is.
Yeah. You know what? I would say there's been several, but there's one that comes to mind. I had some of my repossessors lived out in Ventura County, and they repossessed. It was like a 1991 New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a little small car. It's not expensive, and the finance company called me and said, "Hey, why isn't the car at the auction?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Not at the auction." So I called up the repossessors, and they said it'll be by there, you know, in 2 days, 3 days, whatever. So I got a call from a detective. He says, "Hey, Mr. Pizarro, this and that. Do you have a New Yorker?" I go, "Yeah." So it was repossessed. They go, "Well, did you see the news last week?" And I go, "No." He says, "Well, it was used in a murder."
Oh,
I go, "What?"
Oops.
So it turns out that the repossessors up there, one of their nephews and their friends, took the car and did a string of robberies, and it was all over the news. So at one of the gas stations, I think it was a Mobil or Chevron, they ended up killing the manager.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous. So one guy got caught, the other guy was on a run for a year. So I ended up paying the car off, you know, because I had to, you know. So I paid the car off, and a year later, I get a call from the same detective. He says, "Hey, you can come pick up your car." I go, "Oh, I forgot about that car." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "You didn't see the news over the weekend?" I go, "No." So it turns out the guy that was on a run for a year ended up at his grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. And his grandma called the police, and he was there with an AK-47. And he went to run out the back window, and the sniper shot him, turned his lights off, case closed. So, yeah, you know, most people don't realize that the repossessing industry is important to the economy. The average American could not afford the interest rate on an auto loan if there was no repossessing agencies. I'll tell you right now.
Absolutely. I will tell you a really interesting story was before I met you, years before. I was probably about 15, 16. My dad, wow. yeah, a long time ago. My dad had opened up a car dealership in La Puente. If you guys remember the car dealership on Orange and Amar, diagonal from the Jack in the Box, that was my dad's dealership. And it started getting really bad on people that couldn't pay their cars off. And I remember my mom and my dad saying, "Ay, cómo me gustaría agarrar el luz de Operación Ripo para ir por los carros," you know? And that's what they were trying to figure out, how to get you to be their repo man. And that's just so funny. And then all these years later, as you remember a few years ago when you did that signing over at JCPenney when they were redoing the grand opening for Mother's Day, remember when my mom and dad finally got to meet you in person? And my mom was acting like a total trollop in front of my dad. She's like, "Oh, Lord. But I mean, looking at it, you know, my dad didn't get mad. I think he was also getting a hard on for you, boss. Like,
well, may he rest in peace, man. I know he's listening to.
Yeah. Thank you. No, rest in peace, Dad. But definitely, you were definitely a huge highlights of my parents' life to be able to meet you. And also, you've made me very popular on my street right here in East Los Angeles from the times that we were doing Repo Radio, and you would come up and pick me up so we can take off to do our events, whether it was the Art Laboe concerts or going to go do lives at KDUC 94.3. Remember, I had come out and people were like, "Hey, Lou, don't take my car. Lou's out here. Operation Repo's out here." And so the whole street is just so nice to me. You know, they're always waving and like, "Oh, ahí va la Tania, you know, ¿dónde está Lou?" They're always asking about you. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's funny. Hey Lou, how does the repo business impact the auto loan APR to the point where if the repo business didn't exist, consumers wouldn't be able to afford the interest. How do the economics on that work?
So the way that it works, a very good question, by the way. So let's just say right now you have good credit and you get, like 7-8%, let's say 10% APR on approved credit, whatever. You'll be paying 30 to 40. Now you cannot afford that. That's like an insane amount. No one would buy a car because the banks, they have no one to really protect and recover their asset. And there is some states like that, guys. There's a self-help state, I think, like Alabama, you can't repossess. Certain states you cannot repossess. Yeah, there's certain countries you can't repossess. You have to send them a letter, and they have to willingly give you the car. If not, you ain't getting it. So imagine those banks. The criteria you have to meet to get an auto loan out there. So I hear it's the same. It's like, think about it. If you were to buy a $20,000 car with no money down at 30 to 40% interest rate, it's a house payment, man. Come on.
Yeah.
It is.
So no one's going to do that. So that's what I mean. And because of the system, okay, they can't afford it, they get it back, and they still take a loss. They still take a loss, but it's not 100%. So that's what I mean in short. Just to make it simple for everybody.
Interesting. So without the repo companies, they would essentially have to jack up the APR to cover their losses.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the non-payers.
So, yeah, it would be like if you're going to buy a car that's $30,000, they're going to want $10,000 down.
Wow. And what's
crazy like that? Yeah.
What's a typical bounty for a repossession company to go pick up a car? Like, how do you guys get paid?
So it's a kind of a volume thing. So for example, a auto repossession goes anywhere from 300 to 350. There's other little, stuff involved, but that's it. So the idea is to repossess as many cars a month as you can. Now, if it's a semi, it's a little bit bigger. If it's an airplane, it's more money. Those are specialized items. So that's how it works. Some of these repo companies, are repossessing a lot of cars. And I don't know what the stats are today, but when I was in the industry, there was about 10,000 cars being repossessed every month in Southern California.
Oh, wow. So you guys work off of a flat rate. You have nothing to do with like an auction or like the inherent value of like a luxury car versus a daily driver.
No, back in the days, like if I was going to repossess a high-end car, it was through a percentage. If I was going to get like, a $500,000 plane that they couldn't find, it'd be by a percentage.
Got it.
Depending on what it was. So, but for the most part, cars, motorcycles, toys, like jet skis, boats and stuff like that, they set rate.
And back then, 300 to 350, that was a lot of money. That was like gold. Do you know by chance what they're paying out now for this day and age?
Yeah, it's roughly the same. Because I just asked this question. Everyone's almost trying to get me back in this business, and I don't want to do it. But the thing is, now it's kind of slightly different, where there's bigger companies that run everything, corporations, and they'll issue out the work to different smaller companies. But so for the main part, it's around the same. It's anywhere from 300 to 350, maybe 400 if you're going to deliver the car, because there's a fuel surcharge. Gas is expensive nowadays, and the insurance went up. So, it's not too far off than when I was in.
There was when I was going through the clips of Operation Repo, I ran into a sizzle reel for Beverly Hills Pizarro that I thought was just amazing. And in that one, you're protecting assets of big estates of very rich people that names that we can't even mention. But in that, you were repossessing airplanes, yachts. Like, tell me what goes into repossessing an airplane.
Well, on the Beverly Hills Pizarros, it was a good idea. And I kind of put the horse before the carriage, guys, where I wanted to start this business to where I would protect assets that were, being repossessed and going to be auctioned off. Because what happens is that if they have a writ of execution and they try to kick you out of the house with the sheriffs, what do? You're going to take whatever you can and try to sell whatever you can. You know, that. And so I was trying to protect that. I was trying to start a legitimate company. At the same time, I filmed this and it was a hit. They really liked it. But I think at that time, modern day America wasn't ready to show people's houses being repossessed and what goes on. So that was that. As far as boats and planes, a plane is really difficult, guys, because it's a federal offense to try to take a plane. You go to jail. So you have to go to the feds. You got to go to the office, get a permission. You take someone from the airport. They walk up with you to the plane. They'll put a sticker on the plane saying you cannot move it. And then I normally rent a hangar and we tow it into another hangar. I mean, so it's a process.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not like you can't find the plane. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so if the guys, they have logbooks, they have all kinds of information to tell us where they're at, where they've been, where they're going. So it's really easy. Unless you take it out of the country, that's a different ballgame.
Wow. Oh, I just think the repossession game is so it's so interesting. Funny story I never told you. This is actually funny. Remember that green Prius I had?
Yes.
When I was working with you?
Uh-huh.
Well, I kind of missed like a payment or four, and they came and they came and and they came and they repossessed it.
Hey, you know what? It happens to all of us. I'm telling you, man, it's like we have priorities. And even now with this whole COVID thing going on, like there's no repos going on, guys.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Really?
Oh,
Nothing.
really?
Yeah. Nobody's repossessing. What they're doing is that they're picking up voluntaries. I mean, some people are saying, look, I'm not going to be able to catch up.
Yeah.
Just come pick up the car, or they got impounded, you know, so they can get them out of the impounds. But for the most part, none of the big companies are doing any repos, man. The governor said no, and that's what's going on.
Wow.
Wow. And did he say no because it was considered a non-essential business, or no just because now is not the right time to do it more, for society reasons?
Exactly that. You know, just now is not the right time. Everyone's going through a hard time. People lost their jobs.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You know, so yeah, that's what's going on there, guys.
So,
Wow.
So update on the repossession, what actually had happened. When they came and repoed the car, they took it and it was parked facing that side of the street. So they took it and they were all happy about it. They're like, yeah, we got her, right? But what I didn't realize is that my car had been T-boned on the other side and the car was completely damaged. So they ended up calling me to strike out a deal because the insurance was going to pay it out. And the car was basically worthless for them to turn in that way. So
wow.
that was very interesting. But I never got to tell you that at the time because that was the time that I had gotten fired from Repo Radio, which was very, very interesting. Again, I learned so much from being on Repo Radio, especially the things that I cannot say on air that could get me in trouble, which was, I think, the final reason why I got let go. And our old co-host actually had asked about why we got let go. Care to clarify?
Yeah, so for clarification on the record, guys, they were just on a sabbatical. Mm-hmm. So you guys weren't fired.
We weren't fired. Oh, good to know. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
We were on a sabbatical. Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those people just needed change in their life at that time. It got really interesting. I still don't remember what the story was, but I mean, you're welcome to tell the audience of what you thought. happened that when you and Marina?
Okay, with me and Marina. Okay, so what had happened is at that point, and then I also have a card. Look, our old Repo Radio autograph card. Check it out right there. And boss, you look amazing as always. There's Randy, Stylitarian. We love Randy. Yeah. And there's Marina, and there's Fernie, and there's me. Very, very tiny right there. There's me. But so what I remember had happened was because we were morning radio. And so there were people that were listening in the morning, like children that were going to school. And we were talking about Marina, how Marina had started dating this baseball player, remember? And she had talked about how this baseball player had bought her a car, like straight up paid the whole car. And Marina had said that she had not slept with him and that he bought her this car. And then I said, wow, that's not magical vagina. That's magical unicorn vagina, because that just doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's right. And then I remember the high schools were listening, and they all started calling the station. The principal called. And he said, everybody at the school is talking about magical unicorn vagina and Tania Estrada. And it was awesome. Yeah.
It was. Wow. It was. And then, so that was my first strike, right? But that was my first strike, like in years. I had been there now going on 3 years, right? And it was like the first faux pas. So I was watching my language on that. But then the problem was for me was, we had a chemistry where everybody needed to be there. And Marina, just for whatever reason, did not show up. She would not show up when she was supposed to show up. And at that time, I was kind of trying to take care of and help with the bookings and getting the guests on and making sure that we had a full house. So every time she didn't show up, it was very aggravating for whatever excuse that she came up with. And shout out to Marina. Marina, we've talked about this. Me and Marina are still good friends. We still
to work,
talk.
Marina.
Yeah. What it was is that she came in and just started trying to mouth off a bunch of like directions and instructions and trying to tell us what to do. And I was like, Marina, can I talk to you in the back? But I didn't know that Randy kept the microphone on. Now I was really upset and I mouthed off a lot of things, which I cannot really remember. Do you remember that audio where I just like went off?
I don't repeat that kind of stuff. Come on.
Okay. All right. We can leave it at that. Don't repeat that kind of stuff. But yeah, I drove it in. And then on top of that, I did another faux pas where I started talking about, and we can say it here, but I started talking about black penis and my love of big black penis.
That was right.
And however it was that I said it, that I mentioned it, the station just pretty much had it. And they were just like, we can't deal with, just what she's saying. And it was a huge lesson on how to censor myself, the things that I shouldn't talk about. Luckily, I never slipped out a bad, F-bomb or anything like that. But the beautiful thing about doors that close will always have another door that opened. And because of all the experience that I had on there, I got picked up by 95.5 KLOS. So it went beautiful and it was really nice. So I thank you so much for the experience, for everything that I learned, and to have just the love of radio, especially by starting off this podcast. Now, through Repo Radio, you've had Repo Radio now for about 8 years, correct? Correct. And the beautiful part is that our replacement is someone that I love very much. She's very dear to me, Miss Anna Vergara. If she's watching, I love you, girl. Anna is amazing to me. Also, I'm wearing Countessa. I'm wearing her Glamour Queen's lipstick. Countessa is one of my favorite
so am I. Look.
Yes, you too. Right here.
Lou, yours is on your collar, Lou. Come on.
Yeah.
It's on my shirt.
It's on your shirt.
Was Repo Radio on terrestrial radio back in the day, or was it digital?
No,
it was absolutely terrestrial. Yeah. So we started I actually started with Those Coasters Communications, 94.3 FM and 102.5 FM. It's the same company that owns LATV, the Yola brothers. And I started there October 2010. And I started, it was an awesome thing. And I think 2 years after that is when we came up with the morning show concept. Because it was just me, you know, interviewing different people for a couple of years. And that's when everyone came aboard. So it's 94.3 FM and 102.5 FM. We have a really, really nice audience. You know, the High Desert, Palmdale, Lancaster, Vegas, Needles, Tehachapi, some of Bakersfield, San Bernardino. I know I said that already, but also all the military bases, Fort Irwin, MCO Beach, Palms, etc.
Oh, fantastic. So Tania, you were on terrestrial radio dropping this sort of stuff. I could just imagine your program director was like, whoa, no. Somebody hit the dump button.
Actually,
hey, no, you don't know. I got the calls in the morning and I'm like, son of a gun, man. It's like, and all I hear is laughing. Oh, man, we got a problem.
Wow.
I already knew what it was. So, yeah.
There's something about those days of radio, though, you know, like the mid, 2000s, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, that were like, it was so fun. Radio's in such a bad place right now. You know, like stations are just consolidating. You know, you used to have, each station had its own, each station used to have its own identity and its own feeling, and now, at least in Los Angeles, one company can only own 8 radio stations. So it used to be, you used to have 8 program directors, you had 8 staff, 8 different rosters of staff, 8 sets of DJs. And now you don't, now it's everything's happening in one office to run so many different stations. And there's no identity anymore, amongst radio. It's really upsetting. K-Rock, for example, just went, they ended up getting acquired, and their entire staff, their building's right around the corner from my place. It's completely empty because they moved everybody into a corporate office, and they've let people go. And they just, maybe about 2 months ago, actually at the beginning of the COVID lockdown, they let Kevin go from the Kevin and Bean show, and their listenership dropped in half, which is like, you can't have that happen in radio nowadays because you can't go demand the advertising dollars,
Correct.
So like, Lou, like, what have you seen in the radio business? Like, what's changed just in the, the media of radio between then and now? What have you seen?
Well, you're right on point, especially in the LA market. People don't realize that's where the money's at. And when you got Kevin and Bean, they have such a huge following, just like Heidi and Frank. You got the Big Boy. So the thing about it is that a lot of these people are being acquired. In fact, I think Medulla Media just acquired recently KLOS.
Yes, they did.
So
they did.
Their building is, it's not empty. It's going to be empty. Everybody's moving to Burbank if they haven't already.
We did.
They
we
also
moved
acquired,
to Burbank. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they acquired 92.3 a few years ago. And about 3 years ago, they bought for, I think, $86 million, Power 106. They're on the same building, 93.9. So they're buying all these, stations and running them out of the building to consolidate, to save money. But at the same time, like you were saying, they can't demand the advertising dollars. Yeah. And I'll give you some wild numbers. Like CBS Radio, I think in LA market, they're billing somewhere around $12 million a month. That's LA money, but that's CBS Radio. They have a lot of stations. And those days are over, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, those days are over. So, before you know it, it's, iHeartRadio. I was in the Midwest before this whole COVID thing, and they were telling me how bad they're doing, under iHeart. I was like, what do you mean?
Wow.
What was going on with iHeart? Didn't they go into bankruptcy or something? Or
I think they filed for a bankruptcy reorganization, like that one, the reorganizing.
Yeah. So I want to add to that. The reason why I got into radio is because I believe they have a lot of safety things under your belt. I know as I get older, there's many things that I do want to do and I don't want to do. But, if I hit 70s and 80s and 90s, God willing, I wouldn't mind sitting on the chair, talking on the radio. but I had to learn. I had to have the experience underneath my belt, and that's why I've been in radio. So there you go.
And you have the fans, you have the loyalty. People tune in every week now, especially the way, shout out to Randy Martinez, Stylitarium. He has really done such great things inside the studio, especially by putting in the feature where you get to go live now with everybody and people can watch it every week live.
Yeah. Without Randy, this would not be happening, guys. I'll tell you right. He's our go-to guy for everything. So yes. He's a mastermind. He's our genius, and no, you cannot hire him. He's ours. Damn it.
Yeah, you guys, he's not for hire.
And actually, right now he is. So you can hit him up at whothehellisrandymartinez.com.
Yes. You know, Randy is someone that I've always felt is so smart, so intelligent. He's always so great to talk to. And I never knew how for granted I took knowing him and having friendship with him. Randy was always my bunkmate when we would go away out of town. Randy is who I sleep with in the room. Me and Randy share I knew it. Me and Randy share a bed together. When me and Randy go out of town, we share a bed together. Oh yeah, sorry to all the guys that I was dating before. Yeah, I was sleeping with Randy. But literally, I was just sleeping with Randy like you would sleep like brother and sister. I never woke up. I never felt a hard on. I never had any creepy breath on me, and it was so cute because in the morning times, I'd always get up, hungover or stoned or whatnot. And Randy was always so sweet. He'd go out, to the continental breakfast and bring me back something to make me feel better and get me up. And he's just always so cool. But, Randy is so smart and so great to talk to. And I never knew how important it is to have someone so intelligent on a radio show as himself. And I think of Jimmy James the same way. Jimmy James I met him through Martin Moreno when they started the band Slaughter Before Slaughter, now Saint Nectarius, and they had me come on as their guitar player. And we've been getting to know each other for this whole year. And I consider Jimmy James one of my best friends. He's the guy that I can talk stats with. I can talk facts with, and I know his wife very well. And I love you, Jimmy James. You're the white Randy Martinez, just so you know.
Thanks. Okay. I speak fluent Tania, and let me translate. Friend zone.
Yeah.
Randy, friend zone.
Yeah, total friend zone. Yeah, Randy and Jimmy James, total friend zone. So moving on from radio, because I got to see this part firsthand, because a lot of people don't know, and they always ask, why aren't you coming back to Operation Repo? The one thing that happened when the seasons ended, I knew because I saw the networks were asking you to bring back another season and to bring back Operation Repo. During that time, I got to double not only as your comedian on the radio, but I was also your PA, where I was learning a lot of the backhand production stuff that you were doing as a director. You are a film director, which is amazing. And not only a TV director, because from Repo Radio, you transitioned as a TV director into a film director, which I've seen the process. It's very tedious. It's very long. You have to build teams that work well together. Tell me did you ever dream that you would become a film director? Because you came from Puerto Rico. You're from Puerto Rico. And, back then it's where you get to dream big. Tell me about your transition as a film director.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I'll make it as quickly as I could. And you guys feel free to jump in if you want to interject anything. But, I've always loved film as a kid. I've always loved watching movies. And we're big martial art fans. Bruce Lee. My mother at the time, she would take us, as a single mom, she would take us to go watch, 3 Shaolin movies for like $4. And they were all in Chinese, so we did that. So I was always interested in movies. I always had this passion I'm a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I always had this imagination that people didn't understand. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to do this. I mean, it's insane. Even now, it's kind of an interesting situation because sometimes I can't sleep. Sometimes it's the things I think of are just my daughter, Celine. She goes, Dad, sometimes you have intrusive thoughts because I bounce things back off her. But it's something I always wanted to do. And I remember when I was 18, 19, I'm fast forwarding from a kid. I took an internship with a grip company, a union. And I was working my tail off. I was excited. And I remember the guy reaching out to me. And he says, hey, man, he says, what are you doing here? Well, I want to make movies. He goes, no, he says, you're wasting your time. I go, what do you mean? He says, number one, he's like, look, you're out working everybody. He says, you're not related to anybody here and you're not white. Yeah. And it was, and I was like, man, you're right. I was so naive. I was so, I was like, you're right, man. So I went and did something else. I took a bunch of other jobs. I ended up working for Continental Airlines. I went into the Marine Corps, and then I got into repossessing. And next thing you know, so many years went by later, and all of a sudden, boom, unwillingly, I get into this world. But just imagine if I would have started back then. So I've always had it in me. I've always wanted to do it, but I wasn't that guy where I'm like, I'm going to sacrifice, someone else's career, some life for mine. I always put other people first, and that was my problem. In a sense, I got a lot of crap from my ex-wife on that. She goes, "You're always worried about everybody else. What about your family? What about us?" And tiene razón. She was right, to a point. But now, when I started doing reality TV, Tanya, I started creating shows. So as I'm doing Operation Repo in Spanish, I created a few other shows, and then True TV, and then now, and so I got the taste of the good and the bad of reality TV. And working with people for such a long time, I decided that's not what I want to do. I want to direct feature films. That's what I wanted to do. And that's what I started doing. And it's like you work with guys for 3-4 months, and that's it. If you want to work with them, you bring them on the next project. If they're knuckleheads, you don't bring them back, and you just move on and build a stronger, better circle. And that's one of the reasons why I like directing, stuff like that. Movies. So I hope I answered your question. It's always been inside of me. I never had anybody to help me get it out. I had to live and learn, trials and tribulations, and boom, here we go. Here I am.
Are you going to direct a Kung Fu movie?
I did a short called Way of the Empty Hand. It'll be on Amazon in a couple months.
Nice.
In fact, Tania was in it, and we had Robin Shue from Mortal Kombat. We had the phenomenal legend, Simon Rhee, who has done he's best of the best, and he's done choreographed Transformers, all types of movies. The guy's phenomenal, and a lot of other great people on there as well. So, upcoming martial artist Jeremy Sachs. So we're really excited about that.
That was
wow.
That was amazing to work on, Lou. It was very surreal, like to just look at freaking Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. I'm like, oh my God. I wanted to yell, finish him. But I was like, no, Tania, shut up.
That would have been a great one. That would have been awesome.
Now, the style of this film, so everybody, can have a little bit of anticipation. Did you go traditional martial arts movie where it's very stylistic and very, very, very true to the discipline, or did you go more modern with the special effects and the throwing the fireballs and all that stuff?
Well, I don't have that budget, but I wish I did. I went more practical and more true to the martial artists, because it was very important to these guys. That's why it's called The Way of the Empty Hand. So it's very practical, very traditional, a nice story with a little bit of love. And, kind of like Karate Kid type stuff, which we're all fans of, the original. So there you go.
Yes,
awesome.
I
can't wait.
I got to see them do like real martial arts.
Yeah.
Like it was not fake. It was all real stuff. And, and I just had to sit there quietly and not be all wanted to geek out so bad because I grew up on Bruce Lee. I grew up on all those movies. So thank you, Lou, so much for including me on that. And you've included me in so much. I have to thank you for my SAG card. It was because of you that gave me lines in your productions where I was able to level up in the acting world and become a real SAG member. Tell us about the first time that we met, because I had just started acting. I had been a comedian for a few years. I had just started acting and I got called in to do an episode of Operation Repo. We didn't meet that day, but a few months after that, I got called in for your hit TV series on Telemundo called Fugitivos de la Ley. If you guys have not seen this show, I highly recommend that you watch it. It's an amazing cast of characters. We have Monique. We have Monique. I love Monique. Monique is so great. The blonde, she's a bail bondsman. We have Luis Fernandez, FBI agent. We have Bombero. Oh, wow. That must have been, that must be the spirit of Roman. That was the spirit of Roman Morales. Yes, Roman, I'm not forgetting your name. Roman Morales, rest in peace. But I got called in to do an episode of Fugitivos de la Ley, and that is the day that I met you. And it was such a fun experience. Tell the audience a little bit of what your experience was working with me.
Well, first, I will never ask any of my actors or anybody who works for me to do something that I would not do, or that I just wouldn't do it, or that I couldn't do. So on this scene, I needed this.
We paused.
Lou's frozen.
Lou's frozen. Lou. Check.
Come back, Lou. This story was getting good. This started off like a Werner Herzog story.
Right? Yeah.
I don't do anything.
Yeah.
That I would not myself. That I would not let
the
spirits, ask my actors to do.
The spirits are thumbs up.
I see a thumbs up. I think he can hear us.
I wonder how we do this. Do we stop and start over? Do we bring him in? Oh. We lost.
I think he's gonna rejoin.
He's gonna rejoin.
Yeah.
Okay. So far so good, Jimmy James. Right? Yes. Here we go.
Yep,
we bringing him in. Yes.
Hey, that was weird. I could hear and see you guys, and you said Lou's frozen, and I'm like, I could see myself moving.
That is the spirit of Roman. Roman in the house. So we were just about to talk about Fugitivos de la Ley. So not ask anyone to do anything that they don't want to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask anybody to do something that I would not do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was telling one of my guys or my producers, like, I need someone to jump this fence, jump back, and fight in the front yard. Who would do it? And then they brought me Tania. Says, Tania, can you do this? And she goes, hell yeah, I can do it. Not only did she pull it off, dude, I'm like, man, this is my Michelle Rodriguez right here. She was badass. And I've been a fan ever since. And every time I give her a task to do, whatever movie that we do or pilot or whatever, she does it without question, and she does it well. And that's what attracted me to her talent, and that's what we've been friends ever since.
Thank you, boss.
You're going to be huge. I've been telling you for a long time. It's like just the attitude you have. And not only that, like I said, quoting Whoopi Goldberg, you have to create your own opportunities. That's exactly what you've been doing.
I have, boss. From you, I've learned so much. I've definitely learned the dynamic of trusting the people that you work with. And if you can't trust the people that you work with, then you can't work with them any longer because they derail the whole team. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, always have the best attitude that you can and do everything well. Number three, don't talk shit. You talk shit, someone's going to hear about it. And the number one rule of all that is don't wait for an opportunity to come. You know how to do it. So if you want a door to open, go to Home Depot, buy wood, and build your own fucking door to walk in and out of. And
that's right.
and you know, and that's the way, as a producer, you being Latino, which is already difficult in the movie game, but you have created your own opportunities. You've taken Operation Repo to the top, all over syndicated, and now you're doing the same thing with movies, where you're creating your opportunities. You're not waiting for anyone to come and tell you, hey, you know, or anything. You're doing it yourself, and that's how all these film companies come to you and want you to put out movies. All the big networks, all the big movie studios are working with you now, because the proof is in the pudding. Right now, very excited because you have Operation Repo, the movie, that is out right now and available on DVD. You guys can buy it. Go on moviezing.com, MOVIEZYNG.com. And Jimmy James, I want you to take on this task. I know that you can see the comments. Yes. Whoever is commenting or doing the best sharing, or is in here through all this, we here at Talking Crap with Tania Estrada will be buying you a DVD to send you of the Operation Repo movie. So we will announce a winner later on. But Lou, tell us about this movie, because everybody's been waiting for this movie. It has been in the making for 10 years, and the trailer is just so exciting. Tell us about what you had to go through all this time to get it out.
So, as a first-time filmmaker, you know, having a hit TV show, I actually had a conversation with a dear friend of mine. Two of them, but one of them we're talking Randy Martinez.
Yes.
I told Randy, we're going to make a movie. He's like, we're going to what? So we're going to make the movie, Operation Repo, the movie. He was like, huh, what, you know, and we did it. Got together with Eric Solis, my high school buddy, the writer.
Eric!
And we put together a nice script. He did a really good job. And it's so funny because Eric is ahead of his time. And there's a conversation I just had with him now, and he's going to start writing more for us. He was way ahead of his time with his dialogue and his style. At that time, people were like a little offended about it, but now that's all you see now. So I decided to put, you know, some money into it. We shot this film. It was interesting. I ended up in the hospital for 2 or 3 days because I was just doing so much. And again, the whole team, I got to give credit to the whole team, the production team. They really pulled it off. So now I'm really excited. I submit my first rough cut to NBC. I was really excited, guys. You can imagine, you know, this young filmmaker, first, you know, the very first film that I directed. And I get the news back saying that I cannot release the film. And I wanted to cry. I really did. I wanted to cry. And I was like, wow, why is that? And because, you know, NBC at the time, our boss, you know, that yes. write our check, they said you have to shelve it. And I guess this was a common thing for certain movies. So it turns out that I was really flattered. It turns out that the reason why I had to shelve the movie is because they were in production with a $33 million budget film called Repo Man with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, who, as we know, are both award-winning actors.
Yes.
Oscar award-winning actors at that. And so the movie just was shelved. Nothing I can do. So years went by. Now it's an outdated film. I'm doing all kinds of other shows. And one day I got the rights back to release it, everything, you know? So I'm like, okay, what do we do now? So we did a rewrap. And then we were going to release it late last year. And that didn't happen. And now we're releasing it now straight to DVD. It's the perfect timing. This whole COVID thing is perfect. Again, so there it is, you guys. You can get it at moviezing.com. You can pre-order it now, and we ship out June 1st. So you can buy the DVDs from June 1st to July 1st, and then you're not going to get DVDs anymore.
Yes.
So it's going to go to all the streamings. But that's just one of the movies that we're releasing. We're releasing 7 movies, guys.
Yes.
I dropped out of high school. I was like 7 movies.
I was going to say.
Yes.
7 movies. So, and a TV series.
So you're releasing seven movies, and all of these movies you worked on for all of these years, because as you know, or people that don't know out there, when you make a movie, but there's so much that goes into it. The editing, first of all, the footage, the footage isn't like you record it on your iPhone. I mean, these are very expensive, high tech, super quality cameras where you need a technician there. And you were one of the first directors that was actually using a red camera. Shout out to Vaughn, right? That is your camera tech that would come out and
all that.
Vaughn Thomas. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the other movies that are coming out, because I'm so excited to see them as well for obvious personal reasons.
So I got, just to let everybody know, since the actual Operation Repo days, I've done somewhere around 25 to 30 movies in different capacities. Now these 7 movies that are coming out are actually my films that I've directed and produced, etc. So we have a movie, which I got to say, we're so excited. It's called Heavy Duty Lovers, the comedy. And I got to tell you, Tania Estrada, she was casted in the movie. And she did such a phenomenal role, man. If you like the nanny character and, the way she worked with Eric Roberts, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. So it's a great comedy, guys. It's about overweight lovers, overweight people that meet each other, that go to a toxic relationship, and then they find love again, at this extreme weight. And if you love the pyramid, the Teotihuacan, we filmed there for 3 weeks, guys. It was a beautiful thing. Look out for this. This movie releases August 1st, Heavy Duty Lovers, comedy. And then after that, we have another one, which was great. Great crew. It's called Psychic Visions, guys. It's it's an awesome suspense thriller. It's really exciting. Everyone came through. Even the makeup girl, Doe, she came through and she played somebody that we killed in the movie. It was great.
Yes.
And Tanya's role, Tania was in it, and she earned that role. It was great.
I played your wife. Your wife. Yes.
She played my wife, and our son, he becomes a psychic, but it's not to give away too much of it. And so that was a great movie. We also did another movie, guys, that we're going to be re-editing, remastering, and it's called Father's Journey.
Yes.
And we're excited about that. So those are just some of the movies. We have a documentary coming out, Lighter Shade of Reality, with the Lighter Shade of Brown.
Ooh, yes.
Great documentary. Rest in peace, DWTX. Oh. And we have 3 other Spanish movies coming out as well, Lou Pizarro Films, Pizarro Pictures. And we also have a 10 episodic series. It's a reality series called El Comediante. And that's coming out early next year, guys. And Tania Estrada was one of the comedian contestants. In fact, she's in the trailer. You got to show them the trailer.
Oh, I'll have to. Yes, I will show you the trailer when it comes out. That was such a great experience, because I always wanted to be in Last Comic Standing in English. And by the time that I was, in comedy, that show ended. So there was nothing like that. And then you produced El Comediante, which is the Spanish Last Comic Standing. And I wasn't going to come out for that audition. It was a real audition. Lou had nothing to do with other than voicing his opinion, but I had to go up against, it was 2 more judges. So it was 3 judges. And, I had to come with Spanish comedy. I had to do Spanish jokes, which I'd never done in my life. So I came in. Remember those jokes that I did that were my dad's Spanish jokes?
Oh, geez.
You did dad jokes at an audition?
I got to give props to our director, Manolo Traviesto, my partner in this.
Manolo!
Yeah, he did a really good job. And just everyone that came through. It was a difficult thing to do, so I won't do it again. I will not be a judge in anything like that again, because that's something I want to do.
That was an amazing experience. Shout out to Richard Villa for being the guest judge. Sorry, I almost kicked your ass, bro, but I realized it was nothing personal. I the thing about that show is I went up against hundreds of comedians for that audition to make it to that top 12. And basically when we got down to the last, I was one of the last 3 female comedians. I was the last female comedian that made it through. And it was, I really wanted that, Lou. I really wanted that so bad. And you know, I think the thing that really messed me up was that my Spanish wasn't that great. My Spanish was decent, but it'd been a while since I had practiced so much Spanish. And after that experience, I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn Spanish better than I've ever known before. And I ended up working at La Cita Bar, you know, as a bartender, as a lot of you know, it's my part-time gig. And I spent 4 or 5 hours of my shift every time I was on talking to all the customers, talking shit in Spanish. And it's really helped. So
wow,
it's helped so much that when Spanish comedy really took off here in the comedy circuit, all of a sudden I was out there doing Spanish comedy. And now I'm also a Spanish comedian. And I have, of course, you to thank for that, for that whole experience. And, you know, everything that you've done is so amazing. And, you know, I just wish you the best.
Thank you.
You're doing so much for Latinos. If you guys can, please follow please do follow at Lou Pizarro on his Instagram, on his Facebook. Be sure to turn on notifications so you guys know when the movies are coming out. And yeah, because we are at about an hour. And so that went that fast.
Flew by.
I got to tell you, man, it's like I got to give a shout out to California Blending, man.
Yes,
man. And I'm telling you, I was in Oklahoma with the lieutenant governor, and I had to fly over there, and I took 2 bottles of this guy, man. He gave me from California Blending, and I was spraying the seed. There was only 25 people on the whole plane. Mm-hmm. But man, I just wasn't taking it, and I felt confident that this was helping me. So it was a psychological thing for me. I appreciate that. The other thing is that my click clacks broke, so I need some new click clacks.
Your click clacks broke?
Yeah, I shattered them. I broke them. I gotta get new ones. And this is kind of what I do, guys. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I like different languages and stuff like that. And don't forget, we got Romeo Mike, the Rifferman movie coming out, and I'm also working on a new script called The Bronx Barber, based on true events.
Oh, you know what? Before we go, if you've got a few more minutes.
I got plenty of time.
Okay, good. Jimmy James, line up those questions because okay. So boss, and I never call you Lou, I always call you boss out of respect. And also all the bosses that I've always had along this time, as a respect, I always call them boss. But the Rooferman movie is an amazing thing that you're doing, because as Latinos, we don't have a superhero. Also, shout out to J&B Roofing Supply, of course, right? Rudy! And Sand and Building Materials, Oscar! Yes.
Our 2 executive producers appreciate you guys and the support, and that they believe in, what I come up with. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Rooferman, tell us about Rooferman, because I loved watching that being filmed from beginning to end, especially over at Manny's, AKA the Spice Lord over at California Blending. The set that you guys made where you did that character, of the
comic book keeper.
Yes, the comic book keeper. Tell us your inspiration for Rooferman, and tell everybody a little bit about Rooferman.
Well, so the way that Rooferman came to be, it's like Rudy Esquivel. We started talking. He was in the roofing business. He wanted to do a movie called Vampire in East LA, and that's how he came to me. I got a great idea, and I'm hoping someday they're going to knock that out. We just started talking about it again, by the way.
Shout out Gilbert Esquivel.
When I go back to that whole thing about creating your own opportunities, that's what I did. I go, look, I had an idea for a commercial and for the superhero, and guess what I did? Sat down with Randy Martinez. I says, Randy, I have an idea for this character, this commercial, this 20-30 minutes later, Randy had drawn the first prototype of the Rooferman costume.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that costume.
And so that's what we did. We did a commercial, Spanish and English, and it was successful. And out of that, I started writing a script with Pete Fernandez, going back and forth. And we have an episodic Bible, and this thing has just grown its legs. It's you know, I did 2 comic books. I did a Repossession comic book, which was a dream of mine. Thank you, Ron Morales III, Greg Harms, everyone else that participated in that. And that's what started all of this, my passion for comic books. It really did. And that goes back to my mom. I got to tell you, you're not going to believe this. Puerto Rican Latina mom who was in love with Eric Estrada, was always writing letters. Why they should date. I wanted to be Poncherello. That's another show we're working on, because I was inspired by Eric Estrada to ride motorcycles. That's how I got into motorcycles in the 6th grade, because of him.
I always wanted to do Eric Estrada, so I feel your pain right there.
I got his number. I'll let him know. So
yes.
So my mom used to like buying Richie Rich comic books.
Oh, yeah, Richie Rich.
My mom, Richie Rich, the little blonde white dude with all the money.
Yes.
And we lived in the projects. And I would look through them, you know. I'd look through my mom's comic books, you know. I'd get them after her, and she would buy the other guy Egghead or whatever his name was. But so anyways, now I have my own comic book. I have 2. And I have a movie that's inspired by the comic book, which is Roman Mike the Rooferman movie. And I have another comic book, which we're going to make it into another movie. But so I hope that kind of answered that question.
Yes. I love the storyline. It has everything. It has comedy. It has drama. It has suspense. And the Rooferman outfit is just amazing. Like, when you guys see this, this is not graphics. This is a fully constructed outfit. And also, I also want to say, and I have to mention just overall, I know that people have always speculated if me and you have ever had a love interest. We have never, ever, ever had anything. You have always been in the friend zone. And I want to thank you so much, boss, for always being so respectful to me. You've never put the moves on me. You always treated me like a daughter. And you had the trust in me when we would have to go out to fan signings. Remember, we do a lot of autograph signings. That's how I started in autographing and meeting fans. Because I know people wonder, like, where did this girl come from? And it's like, we would have to go do autograph signings to meet all of our fans that the radio station would put out. So I had to help you get in and out of this outfit. And it was just a whole thing. When we get a chance, we're going to have to pull a picture of you in this outfit, but it's such a slick outfit. What people don't know, how hot was it being in this superhero costume?
It was really hot, you know. Luckily, Alex and Wonderland and her husband Mike, they made a lot of adjustments. It made it lighter and made it. They changed some stuff where I can breathe. Also, where I can go to the bathroom easier.
Oh, yeah, that was a whole thing. I was like, we were on schedule. It was bad.
And I told him, I go, you remember the scene when Tony Stark and Iron Man, he goes, you guys want to know how hard is it to go to the bathroom, or how it feels like? Oh, it feels okay. He goes to the bathroom in the costume, you know. And that's what it feels like. It's really that easy now. So, but it's evolved because in the second movie, because Romeo Mike Rooferman is 3 movies. So in movie number 2, we have the Mach 2 costume like Iron Man. It's more streamlined. So yeah, at first it was really hot and difficult, but it got easier.
Yeah, and you look amazing in it, boss. You look really great. So you're going to continue doing movies for the rest of your life. This is your thing. You are now a director. Tell us who would be on your list of people that you would want to work with in the future to be in your movies.
Well, first and foremost, my circle, my team. You guys, everyone, Randy, Martinez, everybody who's been with me and believes in me are going to have that first option. I believe in creating, talent. I've always have. Creating stars, giving new people opportunity, the next generation. So that's first and foremost for me. Along the line, if I get to direct, a big name, then that's cool. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to create a legacy with the people that have que me apoyaron, the people that have been with me, that have supported me, that believe in me. Not that, not, we have a lot of knuckleheads out there, and we're giving them chances after chances, but just like it's their choice to be a knucklehead, we can't judge them.
Yes.
It's okay if we choose not to work with them. Don't be a hypocrite.
Yes.
Work both ways. And that's what I say, and it's like, and that's why you guys don't see me too much, because I'm so busy creating and watching other people and working with other people to see if they're going to work with me or not. It's not, being a director is difficult.
It is.
It's really difficult. And we don't get unless you win an award later on in life, then you get the fame and the glory.
Yeah.
But, you take all, if the movie's bad, you get the blame. If the movie's not that good, you get the blame. If the movie doesn't make the money, you get the blame. If the movie's not finished, you get the blame.
Yes, I have to give you credit because I've been to a lot of conferences where there's networking that goes on. And the biggest complaint that I always hear is that, we can't work with Latinos because they always backstab each other and they don't support each other. And, they're always you're just not supportive. And I want to tell you that I'm really glad that I had the foundation to work with you all of these years, especially the beginning years of my career, because as a comic, the one thing that I have found which really hurts my heart is, dang, they're a fucking bunch of haters. Like a bunch of even people that we've actually worked with that, you've given them chances and don't support till this day, I think is so sad. And we're not going to mention names, of course, but boss, you really shown me how to watch for people that support you and don't support you. And the best thing is to just be quiet about it and continue building your own door that you can walk in and out of, and you don't have to worry about those people.
Sure. What's funny is that the entertainment industry really attracts a lot of pessimistic people with that have, how can I say it without offending? That have certain attributes or certain things that it's just not good for a human being. Like whether you're a sociopath or if you have narcissistic values, the entertainment industry draws those people, and those are the people you have to look out for. Because James, tell me, you could jump in any time. I know, like if you can't cure somebody who's a narcissist, you just can't. You just got to stay away from them.
Yeah.
No matter who they are.
Yeah, you can't cure it, and the flip side is you also can't feed it. So you just have to avoid it.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, it's like, I don't judge anybody. You are who you are. Don't judge me because I need to go a different direction.
Yes.
Exactly. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there's enough market out there for everybody to work on their projects. And just because somebody has a little slice of the pie right now doesn't mean that they should be a target. It just means that you need to either work to get your slice of the pie, or better yet, work to make the pie a little bit bigger,
Sure.
Because then you get your slice and you're not impacting somebody else.
Yeah, that's very, very true. In fact, my attorney, he tells me that all the time, because he knows I don't like working with knuckleheads. And he says, well, let's do a good contract and you can work with this deal. It's just a one pilot project we're doing, and everyone gets paid and you go your own ways. And I go, okay, I'm going to try it this time. And he was right. I never work with that person again, but he was right. And again, just make the pie big enough for everybody. But again, everyone has a choice, and they can't judge anybody because they decide that their choice is not what you want.
You can't. Are you in production right now with anything?
You know what? I am not, but I'm glad you asked that. We're just getting ready. I have a residency out at Cat Steak Studios, so I have offices out there. And we're just waiting for the governor to give us the thumbs up, and the mayor, and then let's start rocking and rolling. But everything's on hold. I had to. We were on Rooferman, the Romeo Mike movie, but that came to a halt.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. We're in the age of Zoom right now.
Yeah. Cool.
This is the new norm right now. This is the new norm.
It sure is. As sure as I got my cool mask. It's like, you know, it's I can wear it two ways. You know, if I want to be like the Karate Ninja, you know, if I want to be like Big Bird with, you know, I just put this side on. I mean, I got so many different masks here. It's like,
you could be both guys from Mortal Kombat in one day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So okay, so since you're not in production right now, what are you doing to fill your time? Are you writing? Are you doing home projects? What do you like? How are you filling your days? What's going on?
You know what? Right now, because of the theaters are all closed down and the SVOD market is just needs content, I'm in a lot of communications to reproduce some of the old stuff that I've done, especially with Latin America. Again, I was with the lieutenant governor. He wants to bring of Oklahoma. He wants to bring more production over there. By the way, guys, he's offering a 30% cash back, not a credit, cash back. So just imagine if you go in there right away, you're going to get 30% of that cash right there to add to your budget, which is great. But we're in LA, and again, we need to make stuff happen here. And I think that our mayor, Eric Garcetti, has been doing a damn good job since he got into office, and we had a conversation when he got in about what needs to be done. He's right on track. But this red tape that they have over here is just bullshit. I'm sorry. You know, it's ridiculous. But anyways, I'm confident that he's going to get the job done. So, you know, Mayor Garcetti, keep up the good work. So I'm just talking to different distributors. They're like, Lou, I want content. I need content. Luckily, all my content has been licensed.
Yes.
You know, so that's great. So that's what I've been doing. I'm on the phone, getting the studio ready. Cat Steak Studio. Guys, go to catsteakstudios.com, see what's going on. If you guys need stages, we have 6 stages out there. We have 2 theaters. We have a beautiful green screen out there. And again, it's catsteakstudios.com. And to finally finish what you're talking about, I've been doing right. I'm working on The Bronx Barber, which is based on true events. And radio, keep them busy with the radio. That's where social distancing on the radio. You see Randy has everyone like 10 feet apart.
Yes, 10 feet apart. Everybody's 10 feet apart in there. But that's cool that you guys are doing the radio still, because a lot of people aren't able to do that. And of course, shout out to Randy Martinez, who is randymartinez.com. He's the one that's helping everything, you know, with such. People don't see the magic that goes on behind the scenes, but it takes a whole village and it takes a whole team.
Oh, yeah. I love to give credit to everybody, and sometimes I forget, man. And, you know, if I do, I'm sorry, you know, but I believe that everyone should get credit where credit is due. But, yeah, so we're keeping busy the best we can. We're following the rules, social distancing, et cetera. I got people texting me right now. Roku needs this. I'm like, what?
Roku. Well, Roku.
I'll call you later.
Roku. Speaking of Roku, I would like to bring up something that I'm very proud to be a part of and helping you. And you went through so much to get this together. So thank you for bringing me on board to help out. But you guys go to mundoflix.com, Lou. Amazing what you've done to get all of these movies licensed to go through mundoflix.com. Tell us about that project.
Well, that's kind of a long-term project that we've been working on for many years now, and we're still looking for investors. We had a couple meetings that got postponed because of the whole Covina. Yeah, I know this Covina.
This Covina.
Covina, right off Amar.
Yeah, anyways. Right. And Azusa Covina.
Yeah. So, but that's something we'll get into once we're ready to actually do the final launch on that. But to get back to what we've been doing is just that we're just planting seeds, getting ready. That way, when this market opens up, we're able to contribute to society what needs to be contributed. What I mean is that with some of these episodic, you know, TV shows we want to do, like Wicked Town, like, you know, Mike, to create jobs. That's what I do, guys. All my TV shows have created jobs. Dame Tinta, we did 120 episodes. So many actors and producers. Same with Operation Repo. I mean, we did it for I don't know how many years, 520 episodes in Spanish, over 270, I think, in English. Fugitives of the Law. How many actors did we cast on that? Hundreds of actors.
Yes.
You know, I mean, so, you know, my stuff creates, you know, jobs for people at my level. And you know, I just want to keep on building that. I want to have the Lou Pizarro Studios, Pizarro Pictures, you know, just like Tyler Perry Studios. He has his, Adam Sandler, you know, it's like, I think it's time for a Latino to do it, guys. And I'm going to keep on striving till someone steps up that has the money and gets it done. But eventually it's going to be me or them to get it done. But we are going to get it done for everybody. And it's not only going to be Latinos, it's a broad audience. And that's what I do. All my productions are not just Latin productions.
Yes, that is true.
You know, it's a broad audience, but we're in LA, it's Latin based. Our friends, our circles are Latinos for the most part. And we take them with us, but we open up doors, you know, for everybody. I've had people come from New York to work with me. I had people from Mexico. I had people from Texas come over here and work for me. I had people from China come over here and work with me. I had people from
Japan. Shout out to Mimi.
Oh, yeah.
Mimi.
So it's, you know, I like to create that. And along with that opportunity, guys, we create stars, celebrities. We give people an opportunity to create their own opportunities. That sounds kind of weird, doesn't it?
No, it's true. And you know, I always just stayed, I learned how to be humble and just follow direction, keep my mouth shut. Unless I'm talking about, you know, big dick, then
unless you're on the air.
Unless I'm on the air talking about big black dick. But it's definitely been proof in the pudding. You do put money in my pocket. You do open opportunities for me. And, you know, my only job is to show up for my commitment and do my job well. And, you know, for everyone that gets an opportunity to work with Lou, you have to know that for all the people that don't get to work with Lou again or with me, because it's usually that your head gets too hot, you get too high on yourself and you think you're all big and bad, and you start doing things that are not correct, that are out of line, or how people would say out of pocket. And you're not mean about it, boss. Like, I've seen you give people a second chance and they mess that up. And you know, I don't know what to say about those people, but it's just, I guess I would be narcissistic. They get narcissistic, you know, they want a dream. They get to a point of being, you know, of having a dream, and they attain that dream and they end up throwing it all away by being rude, cussing you out, talking shit, you know, behind your back that was not merited at all. And I just want to let you know, boss, that in every situation that I've seen that we will not mention, you are right. You have always been right. And I love the way that you handle things. You always handle it with grace. You always handle it with respect, and you never disrespect these people. So I want to say that to you. I've learned a lot in that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Tania, you want to close this out with some show awards? This has been a good one.
Yes, some show awards, but actually what I want to do is something that that the boss taught me, and this is where we do shout outs, right? Guys, I've never done this is where we do shout outs. So the way we do it is we thank the people that have been in our lives and that help us out. And so we give a shout out. So I'll go first so you can see how it works. Okay. I want to give a shout out to your wife, Layeni Callahan, for being my official manager. Thank you so much for believing in me and taking me on as your client. You have been instrumental in helping me get to the next level of where I'm at now. And I couldn't have done it without you, Jenny. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Arlene and to Memo of We Are Sacred Light. Thank you for your guidance in your sound baths and your crystal work that help keep the angry chola at bay, and also to Rose Morrow. I want to give a shout out to Bobby Badass Fisher from One Love, One Tribe Apparel. I'm rocking her clothes right now. She's an amazing Japanese American woman, also a pilot. Lou, Bobby is a pilot out of Hawaii, and she flies with the Coast Guard auxiliary out. I want to give a shout out to Luis Fernandez. You know, we love Luis from Fugitivos de la Ley. Amazing guy. And see, who am I forgetting? A shout out to Ana Vergara, her husband, Adam Mendoza. At this moment, Rosa Pinuelas. Shout out to Rosa from El Pollo Loco. She says hi, by the way. I was able to see her over in Mexico. And a shout out to Dr. Hino and everybody at Hino Medical Center for giving me my letter to cross the border so I can check on my health. And I was able to make it back safely. So those are my shout outs. So I think if I didn't say your name, I am so sorry. I'm still getting through the brain fog, boss. You're going to believe this. I have 34 days today, no weed. I've completely stopped smoking weed altogether, and I don't drink anymore.
What a hell of a time to go sober.
Yeah, no kidding. That's right.
It was the best time. This is quarantine right now to me is a time to really take everything that's happened over the last 8 years and absorb it and process it in a very healthy way. And I can't do it without a clear mind. So I'm very thankful for this time. So, all right, Jimmy James, go for your shout outs.
Yeah, I got some shout outs. I got 2 shout outs. Shout outs to my old homies from KROQ FM, the K-Rock days that I got to see this weekend. Jenna Pascala and Jennifer O. I got to cook dinner for Jenny O, and she came by and picked it up, and it was great to see her through the fence, and my buddy Jenner, who swung by just to say hi, and it was great to see him from the lawn. So yeah. It's not being able to see people and converse with people and just having that general weirdness that exists between the space of me and them. I don't like it. I didn't realize how much I took it for granted, because I'm the guy that likes to go to sleep early. I like to stay in my laboratory. And now I'm starting to realize, like, oh man, I took it for granted just being able to go and hang out with somebody. And so now there's this barrier in this force field. So shout out to both those guys for coming over, and for both of them for pushing me into really realizing that I really missed Korean barbecue at like we had that conversation, and the 3 of us were like, oh man, like we didn't do enough Korean barbecue, and now if Korean barbecue goes away, we're going to be really sad. So I guess shout out to Korean barbecue.
Yes, I want to mention, Lou, to give you and everybody a backstory on Jimmy James. Jimmy James is the guy. Remember when K-Rock would have those crazy contests for weenie roast tickets, like eat like 5 habanero chilies or go sliding naked down the mountain slopes of Big Bear? That was Jimmy James arranging all that. How many years ago, Jimmy James?
Oh man, it seems like it was yesterday, but this was back right before. This was during the first wave of the iPods, because I remember when we got our first iPods and we were like, oh my God, we don't have to tote around all these CDs, to all these different events. And so, I would do emceeing for all the crowds that would come out. I got to MC a Beastie Boys concert, which I was thinking about that today. And I was like, oh man, I didn't appreciate that enough when I was there. But now looking back, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it was when the first generation of iPods came out. So this was right before digital, right before digital started crushing radio. And we had such a good time. We had so much fun. The stupid shit we would do.
Yes.
Great. Good memories.
Good memories. But look, it's a young man's game, like I couldn't be doing it now. But very, very glad that I was there at that time.
Yes. All right. And Lou for shout outs.
All right. Well, look, I want to give a shout out to California Blending. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, Manny.
It smells so good. Not to cut you off, but Lou, that shit smells so good.
Dude, I'm telling you, you know what I did is like, this is what I do. I put it on my hands and I'm like, people are like, what are you doing? Is that perfume? I go, no, man, it just smells good.
It smells so good.
Yes. Also a big shout out to Keeblers for helping me break my diet.
Yes. Keto no longer.
I'm starting tomorrow, man. So actually been good. I've been like hiking every other day. like nonstop. So, and everyone who's been working on this. So, big shout out to Leo Mark Studios and the whole team. So, go to moviezinc.com, see what's going on, guys. And a big shout out to all our troops. My son at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with the 82nd Airborne. Appreciate you, homeboy. Everybody at Fort Irwin, if you guys are listening, MCLB, 29 Palms. And our leaders here in California, man, keep up the good work. I mean, we're counting on you guys. You know, let's be safe about it, but we're counting on all of you guys. I mean, that's what you guys are getting paid for. I hate to say it that way, but our mayor, our governor, everyone, you know, underneath those guys, we're counting on you guys to, you know, to bring back California to its former glory. Now that we lost too much of it, but we need to get back there, guys. So please, again, castingstudios.com, guys. We're going to do a lot of great things there. And let's see, who else? That's it. That's all I got. Appreciate you, both of you guys. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you so much for being here. And before we go, also to give a shout out because you were a Marine. Hoorah, right? Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. And you know what, man? I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day. And thanks to all for their sacrifices. You know, one of the things, my dad, he was in the Korean War. And rest in peace. Him and my uncle, Roberto Baez, they're literally just 4 plots away from each other. They both served our country. So in New York. So rest in peace, guys. Appreciate what you've done and everyone else.
Thank you for their service. And of course, thank you for also serving, Lou. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we let you go, Jimmy James, you're going to announce the winner. Let us know who the winner is. And whoever the winner is, I just want to let you know, we will be ordering that DVD for you. So be sure to DM us your address. But we ask you to come find us, and I will have Lou personally sign that copy for you. Right? Yes.
That's right.
Yep. So, Jimmy James, who is the winner?
Mr. J. Michael Arnaldi has been blowing up the chat.
J. Michael Arnaldi.
Yeah.
Yes. What's up,
right.
Michael? Hi, Michael.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in.
He was significantly worried when Lou's feed froze up. Like he was really upset.
Big shout out to Hoku.
Yes. Don't worry, Michael. It was only Roman from above being like, hey. It was our Roman interfering on the airwaves. Right. So big shout out, RIP Roman. We miss you. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Talking Crap with Tania Estrada. Thank you to my co-host, Jimmy James Callahan. And thank you, Lou Pizarro, it's an honor to have you on, and it's an honor to have you on Memorial Day. So thank you for making it so special. So thank you to everybody that tuned in, and we'll see you next week for another episode. Remember, follow at Lou Pizarro, turn on notifications so you guys see what he's